How's it going, everyone? It's Artifact, and today we're going to turn this bass into this bass using the macros in Vital. So let's get into it. Did think about leaving it on for the whole video, but nah. I've never used the macro setting in Vital before, but it's something I used to do on like other synths. All we have to do to create this sort of interesting automation I've got here, I actually mapped it to my MIDI keyboard knob and then just played it in kind of naturally and then just tweaked it a little bit. But all we're going to be doing is mapping a bunch of different effects in this synth to the macro knob and then controlling that with a MIDI keyboard, or you can just do it on your own here. And then we can just draw in like a natural automation. And then we're going to use this as the kind of main movement. And then there's also one extra movement that kind of contrasts it, which is the LFO movement on mostly the filter, and yeah, and actually the level of this third oscillator. So that gives it this kind of that sort of 1/4. It's dotted. Is it dotted? No. Yeah, that quarter note kind of LFO pattern, which is obviously quite classic for D&B. That's happening as well as our drawn in macro automation. And if we just take a look at the patch, what I've made today is the solar powered Wavetable preset on the free Vital. And then we have the basic shapes. It's actually the sine wave, which is kind of pitched down 2 octaves. So it's like just the sort of sub. And then we have a square wave. And you can see on all of these wavetables, I've put on the time skew setting, the spectral time skew. Which is really interesting actually to really mess with the waveform, and we get quite sort of noisy and it sort of starts to come quite a long way away from a square or a sine wave in the end. But yeah, it kind of allows us to get this more spectral distortion kind of Reese sound. So oscillator 1 is a kind of weird effect because when we go onto the advanced tab, I've turned on the unison really high so that when we go to the advanced we can really play with the voices. And yeah, I've chosen this harmonics mode, and if you just kind of listen to it, got a lot of these like high kind of metallic, yeah, like kind of sounds in there. But when we actually frequency modulate our second oscillator into this first one, those kind of all high metallic sort of voices are sort of being so transformed by this kind of time skew setting as well here on this like square wave going into oscillator 1, so it just becomes more of a kind of distorted sounding Reese, so completely changes the sound. But I think not having that mode on, we don't have quite as many of those like high and interesting harmonics that are sort of being sort of spread and yeah, exaggerated when we bring in that frequency modulation. So that's pretty cool already. And then obviously with the third one in here, it's just providing like a real extra low end as well. So it starts to get really aggressive there. And then I've just tweaked a few effects, nothing crazy, like the freeze mode on the chorus, a bit of multi-band, like mixing the compressor in and out. Distortion, linear fold. It's quite an aggressive, high-end kind of sounding distortion. And then a bit of filtering on here, and also on the first section here, we have this kind of low-pass filters that are happening, and they're kind of adding a bit of movement to this secondary kind of LFO movement that I talked about earlier. Yeah, it's quite an interesting patch. I'm going to be using it for my next preset pack, which will come out probably in a while. But in case you guys haven't checked out the older one on my website, I know a lot of you have gone on to bought it, which I'm really, really appreciative of. But yeah, if you, in case you haven't seen it before, I've got a couple of free presets on here and the 2021 Vital preset pack, which is pretty good. It's a lot better than the free one, obviously. But yeah, you can definitely check those out. And yeah, as I said, I probably will be making a like video course or little mini lessons on like using Vital from scratch as well. Like if you're more of a beginner and you feel like sometimes the things I'm saying don't quite make sense, I'm gonna like go in today probably and record like a proper like vital tutorial, like from start to finish kind of thing. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, I've got a sample pack that will be coming out like next week as well. So yeah, lots of things happening, but keep you guys updated, and peace out.